Hello everyone, this is Mike. Welcome to my channel, Mike the Tech Savvy. This is kind of a, mega comparison. I have here 3 Galaxy Note devices, and you can clearly see which are the models I chose. The first one, which is iconic. There's nothing more to say about it. This is the phone that started what we have today, the big phones, which have enormous displays and which don't really feel like phones anymore. We have the Galaxy Note 7, which, yes, it was the explosive one. This is not the fan edition. This is a genuine Samsung Galaxy Note 7. And on the right, we have a Samsung Galaxy Note 10, which is definitely the most good looking, and it's the pinnacle of what technology has achieved today. I know it's not the latest one, but the Note 20 only brings some very small changes, so this is definitely a flagship still. Let's check out the boxes first. The Galaxy Note 1 had a very white box, which is quite unusual for a black phone, but in that time it wasn't. We do have the specs on the back, and yes, the phone is right here. The Galaxy Note 7 has an outer box, an inner box, and the phone right here, which I will pull out. Let's pull out the Galaxy Note 1 as well. And now between these two, I will also pull out the Galaxy Note 10, which is the most recent device in this comparison. Let's just put everything aside and take a look at the phones themselves. I won't check the box contents because, of course, things have changed over the years. These two come with USB Type-C. Of course, this one has a micro USB port on the bottom, but generally the Note series devices all came with charger, headphones, data transfer cable in case of this one, S Pen tips, and that's about it. So indeed, they have changed over time, but we still have the same general package. Let's put everything aside and take a look at the devices themselves. I have also put the phones in order, so we have the Galaxy Note 1, Note 7, Note 10. This phone was released in 2011, this one 2016, and this one 2019. So basically there's 8 years between the first and the last that we have here in front of us. As far as dimensions go, you can clearly see that this one is a more square-shaped phone. This is because the display had a 16:9 aspect ratio. For these, we have still a 16:9 aspect ratio in the case of Note 7, and the regular for 2020 19:9 aspect ratio on the Note 10. Let's put them up. Galaxy Notes, Galaxy Note 7. Oh yeah, old Samsung boot up sound. Let's increase the screen timeout. This device has really nice sounds, especially when very nostalgic. It's like a bubbly thingy. Let's increase the brightness as well on the Note 1. There you go. We have 3 phones which are very similar but very different at the same time. You can see, if I line up the displays, you can see the difference in size. 5.3 inches for the Note 1, 5.7 for the Note 7, and 6.3 for the Note 10. Of course, there's a difference in resolution as well. We have a 720p display here on Note 1. Interestingly enough, this Note 7 is the only phone here that has the wide QHD resolution, whilst the Note 10 only has a Full HD resolution. It's really interesting that this approach was taken, but well, this display is very sharp on the Note 10, there's no question about it. But the device on the Note 7 is definitely sharper, just because of the resolution, of course. We have Gorilla Glass on all 3. Gorilla Glass 1, 5, and 6. Of course, in case of the Note 1, you had a non-curved display without a fingerprint scanner. We have the home key here. We have the power button here, volume keys here on the left, and of course, something which is really rare right now, a removable back. Battery 2500 milliamp hours. The S Pen sits in its home here. It doesn't really click or anything, it's just here. Just look at this beautiful lock screen. What is there not to like? This Note 7, hopefully we won't have any surprises with it right now. I'm just kidding, it's one of the best designs that I've seen. Of course, you do have the bezels here on the top and on the bottom because you have the buttons, but it's unbelievable. You have this very beautiful blue color here, which contrasts really nice with this bronze colored metal here on the side. It's really impressive, and it's very elegant, very sturdy in hand. It's not as thin as the Note 10, but it's a phone that definitely feels good and feels solid in hand. And one thing that all the others don't have and this one has is the iris scanner. The Note 7 has a 35 milliamp hour battery, same as the Note 10, but of course it's non-removable, at least not willingly or not. Well, let's not discuss the battery point further with the Note 7. The Note 10, well, I reviewed this device and I also made an unboxing video of it and discussed about the custom ROMs, so there's not much to say. It's an elegant device overall, very curved display, very similar to what we have here, but the curvature is different. You have very thin bezels here on the sides, on the bottom the chin is very small, and you have this front camera integrated. Definitely looks really good. Let's now discuss the most important thing, which is the S Pen. So let's pull out the S Pen for all these devices and check the differences out. Here you have a click, here you have a click, and here no click. So let's pull it out the traditional way. Note 1 S Pen, Note 7 S Pen, and this is the Note 10 S Pen. Of course, straight off the bat, I can tell you that the Note 10 S Pen is the only one that has internal battery. You can see it hovering here. This one as well, you can see it hovering here. It's really powerful, even though it might seem not as powerful at the first sight. The design of these two is very similar, at least aesthetically. And well, the Note 1 S Pen is, yeah, it's an S Pen, it's the first gen S Pen, and you do have a button here. Let's check them out. Create note, and S Note. It doesn't have that nice sensitivity and this very good quality feeling, but it's definitely usable if you like to take a note. It's not as bad as I would have imagined. With the Note 7, of course, you have a very big improvement. Very nice. And if you would ask me, given that I've used the Note 10 for a while, I would say that they are more or less on par. And with this comparison, it's really interesting to see that the S Pen from Note 7 works on the Note 10 as well. Let's see if it works on the Note 1. And the answer is no. So the technologies have definitely changed throughout these generations. And I'm assuming this is the other way around as well. This is the Note 1 S Pen, which still works on the Note 10 and on the Note 7. So it seems like these two have the S Pen incompatible with this one, not the other way around, which is interesting. So basically, I believe that for the latest device, you have better compatibility with pens of basically different shapes and sizes and technologies. Let's put it back in and let's compare these two. If I have to be 100% honest, I would say that the S Pen for the Note 7 looks much better, even though they are exactly the same length and the design overall is the same. You have this button on both of them, but just look at the overall design, just look at the difference in the textures here and at the way Samsung is written. I really love this kind of details, not to mention the fact that the pen is blue in the exact same color as the phone itself, and you have this tip here that is bronze colored. It looks really nice and very high quality. Of course, this phone had other issues, thus being discontinued. The S Pen for the Note 10 is, well, the most recent one, has an internal battery. You can use it for more things than just drawing, including using it as a remote for the camera and so forth. If I'm not mistaken, for the Note 7 you couldn't. They look kind of similar, but the Note 7 S Pen won't fit into the S Pen compartment of the Note 10. Probably it's the other way around as well. Let's just do a quick test without actually pushing it in. Yeah, let's put it back as they're designed to. Of course, when you talk about the specs of these three devices, we have a different discussion altogether. So here we have a dual core 1.4 gigabytes processor. In case of the Note 7, we have an octa-core Exynos CPU, of course. And in case of the Note 10, we still have an octa-core Exynos, but it's much more powerful, and of course it's based on 7 nanometers technology, whilst this one is on 14. As far as the internal storage, we have a 16 gigabyte internal storage here. Let's check it out and make sure it's not the... Yes, it's 16. I wasn't sure if it's the 16 or the 32 gigabytes version, because there was one with 32. And we do have 1 gigabyte of RAM. In case of the Note 7, we have 64 gigabytes of internal storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM. The Note 10, of course, we have 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.0 storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM. Cameras are really different. Here we have a single 8 megapixel module here with an LED flash, which can only film 720p. In the case of Note 7, we have still a single camera, but it's a 12 megapixel f1.7 aperture sensor, which can film at 4K 30 FPS. And in case of the Note 10, we do have 3 sensors: ultra wides, wides, and telephoto. And of course, this one can film in 4K 60. Front cameras, the Note 1 has an 2 megapixel sensor, which is, yeah, quite laughable for today's standards, but it was definitely more than enough back then. This one has a 5 megapixel front camera and a 2 megapixel iris scanner, which is definitely something that no phone has right now. And here you do have a 10 megapixel sensor, which can film in 4K as well. The Note 10 on the right is the only one with stereo speakers. You have one here and one in the earpiece. This has a very thin slit here, which acts as a second speaker. Of course, I guess the Note 7 could be modded to bring out sound from the earpiece as well, just like the S7 could. but this would distort the sound a bit. Still, it was something to be taken into consideration, but normally you do have a single bottom firing speaker. Here as well, you had a back firing speaker, which was right here, in the typical fashion of the early Galaxy phones. What these two phones have and this one doesn't is, of course, the venerable headphone jack, which is right here on the Note 1. It's right here on the bottom on the Note 7, and it's nowhere to be found on the Note 10. Well, this was not a real comparison. You cannot really compare these three devices, but I wanted to show you the evolution of the Note lineup throughout the years. This is an improvement which happened along 8 years. This phone being released in 2011, this one being released in 2019. You can definitely see that we've gone a long way, but at the same time things have remained more or less similar. All phones from this lineup still do the same basic stuff, and this is somehow true of Samsung and what they usually do with their heritage. You can definitely see the inspiration in the new one from the old device. Of course, the Samsung UI has changed considerably throughout the years. This is a very old software version as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's something like Android Gingerbread, or no, it's actually Android Jelly Bean. The Note 7 comes on Android Marshmallow, and you could play a flappy marshmallow thing. Here we have Android 10, which is no fun for sure. Just check out the Easter egg. Of course, feel free to ask me any kind of question in the comment section below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more similar videos in the future, also press the subscribe button, which will be displayed right here in the bottom left parts. In the video description below, you'll also see the links to my social media accounts and to my Patreon account. Thank you so much once again. This was Mike the Tech Savvy. Stay safe, guys. Until next time. Bye.